I've had a lot of fun over the years playing my version of this game, which is a kind of mishmash of a couple of fan-made rule sets as well as my own interpretation and sort of picking and choosing and adding on to them. So I want to show you how I play it a little bit and give you some examples of gameplay, and probably not play through a whole game, but get some turns in and see what's what with this zombies. I'm playing just with the this director's cut from 2006. It's all I've got, actually. I know there's a million expansions and things like that. I don't have any of those, but I've got the second edition director's cut from 2006. And the first thing I'm doing, I'll say I'm playing with the Zombies RPG set of rules that are available on BGG, and I'll put up the credit here to the awesome user who created them. I use a lot of this material, not all of it, and I modify it, but I use a lot of it, and the basic concepts is what I'm doing because I'm trying to create a world here as is done, and I'm also picking up the Final Hope solo play variant that was posted in a BGG thread. I'm not sure that it is a file actually, but I'll put the username up there as well. And but I'm tinkering with both of these things, and so I'm not actually using either one of them wholesale. The first thing that needs to happen is to create the world, and what I do is I pull out various tiles that are named tiles, the police station, the hardware store, the lawn and garden store, and I populate these locations with 1d8 worth of things, and if you successfully get there, you can do your 1d8 roll and pick up whatever you get. So it's sort of thematic. So the police station is going to have these items, obviously are related to things that could potentially be in a police station. The hardware store will have different types of things, as will the hospital. Now the hospital is coming in at the end. This is your goal, is to get to the hospital and rescue the scientist who has the cure for the zombies, and this is based on those that second set of house rules I showed you, and then return to the helicopter and escape. But when you get to the hospital, there's the potential for getting some good stuff there. There is also the Army surplus store that has a bunch of things here, including armor, where you just roll on the 1d4 armor table that's included in the Zombies RPG rule set. Sporting goods store is going to give you some weapons options here. These weapons are detailed also in the RPG rule set, and when we get them and use them, I'll show you how you can determine what you've got and how it works. The lawn and garden store is going to have some fuel for some of these other types of weapons you can get, and of course the drugstore as well. So I take the named cards and I'm playing with 18 cards. This is per the suggestion of the second rule set, and what I'm going to be doing is interspersing these. I think I had 6 locations. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, right, 6 locations minus the hospital, interspersing those with the remaining blank locations that are going to contain minor buildings and things like that, where there's a separate thing that you roll on here, and this is coming from the RPG, but I've tinkered with it a bit, and I will show you. When you come to an unnamed building, what you're doing is you are going to be first seeing whether you can search it, and we'll see how that works based on some stats, and then if you're able to find something, you're rolling a 2d8 and you are potentially getting any number of these options or encountering an NPC. There are going to be 3 NPC types in the game. They will be the outlaw, who is going to be somebody who is like an escaped prisoner or a gang member, a motorcycle gang member. That's a stereotype, I suppose, we should not be perpetuating. Anyway, it's going to be somebody who will help you for 1d8 rolls and then do d4 damage to you and leave you. You could encounter somebody who is infected, a lunatic who's infected, who will stay with you for also 1d8 turns, and then it is going to turn into a zombie, and or a survivor who is going to help you for 1d8 and then will give you an item and then die. So if you encounter an NPC, it's going to be one of those, and I'll show you. We have to pre-create the stats for those, and we'll do that so you can see how the character stats are created. Or you could encounter, or you could get nothing. If you're rolling 12 or greater in a minor building, you will encounter nothing there. So let's look at the basics of creating a character. You start out with a health stat, which is going to be 2d10 plus 10, and that will be your maximum health. So the only way to increase that is if you're wearing armor, and therefore if you're at maximum health and you find food or something, you can't use it. And per the rules here, you can't put it in your backpack either. Of course, you're really not going to have room in your backpack at that point anyway. You can, of course, always return to a building, and we'll talk about how that works. And you then have 3 other stats that are divided among 12 points: body, brains, and aim. And per the rules that are used here, you're going to use your body for melee combat, or you're going to use it for something like you can climb or jump up to the top of a building. And per the rule that I have added in, if you are on top of a building and using one of your ranged weapons, you're going to get a +2 bonus to that shooting down at a zombie. So that's why you might want to do that. The brains is going to be basically helping you with perception and search. So it's going to add a +2 to a search value, or allow you to manipulate a search value. And then aim is going to be coming into play with the rules for ranged weapons, and we'll see that as we go. So to create the 3 NPCs, what I do is I just do this randomly, and I'll show you how that works. As mentioned, there's going to be 3 types of NPCs, so there's not going to be, we're not going to differentiate among them. It's simply going to be if you get the outlaw, the lunatic, or the survivor, no matter when in the game, it's going to be basically the same stat. So we will, we've got the outlaw, the lunatic, and the survivor. And I'll just show you how I roll up one of them. So the first thing is going to be the health, and this is going to be a 2d10 roll. So hang on. So this is going to be the health for the outlaw character, which is, I rolled a 7, so it's 2d10 plus 10. So he's going to have a health, or she is going to have a health of 17. And then we need to fill in our 3 other characteristic stats. And this is where I'm going to do it as just random. So we have body, brains, and aim. Body, brains, and aim. And we have a total of 12 points that we can assign, with the restriction that nothing can be higher than I think it's a 7, and nothing can be lower than a 2. So the way I create it randomly is I just take a d6 roll, and I roll for body, and so whatever I get, in that case it's a 6, I will put down as the body, and then I will just divide up what I have left. In this case, it's going to be a 3 and a 3. And so that's how I randomly create this character. And might as well just do the rest of them. So the lunatic is going to have a health of, so the lunatic rolled a 16. So the health is going to be 26 on the lunatic. And we'll do the body roll. We got a 4 on body. So we have 8 left, and we'll just do that. And then we've got the survivor here, who has a total of 21 health, and we'll roll for the body. We got a 5, so we have 7, and I guess we can, we could decide what we wanted to do here, and I'll just do 5, 4, and 3. So this is basically how I randomly created the NPCs that we will encounter, so those will be their stats. Now, as far as I am concerned, I don't have a name yet, but I will. This is going to be our hero, so let's first roll for our health. We rolled, unfortunately, only a 20. We got 10 plus 10 is 20, so we have a health of 20. And now I'm going to decide. I'm going to choose how I allocate this, and I'm going to give myself, my body is going to be the lowest value, because I think that I'm going to be able to get some armor, and I'm also going to be able to use some weapons, and I want my aim to be good, and I also want my brains to be good, because that's going to help me in perception when I'm searching buildings and things to get stuff. And for me, this game is about getting stuff and using stuff and then discarding it if it's not working or I see something better or whatever. So I'm going to go with, I think I'll give myself a body of 4. And then that is going to be leaving me, again, it has to be, I'm using 12. So I think I'm going to give myself an aim of 5 and brains of 3. I don't love that. I'm not loving that. I'm almost thinking I'm going to give myself a body of 3 and bring my brains up to 4. So this is going to be how I begin. And unfortunately, my health, didn't roll a ton of health, but that is what it is. So this is my character. These are the NPCs. We got the places populated, and now I'm going to set up and show you how it actually plays. I think we're pretty much set up here. I just want to review where we are and also give a big caveat to the gameplay, which is that I haven't played this in a while, so do not use this as any type of tutorial for how to do this. I'm trying to walk you through it, but we may come upon some inconsistencies along the way. Anyway, here's my character as we created. We changed that up a little bit, and I guess I should, for clarity's sake, do that. And these will come off to the side, but just to remind you who they are. This is my stack, my draw pile, and I start with the shotgun with the 6 ammo. I'm going to be landing here, and I will show you, these are my little cheat sheet to remind me of what these guys are going to do if I encounter them. And I have, again, my stack of named buildings and what may be in them if we get there. And here's the sequence of play. So let's just take a look at this, and then we'll start to play. The first thing that we do each turn is to roll for the number of actions we get in that turn, and I'm doing this based on a 1d8 roll. If you want an easier game, you could do a 1d6 roll, because at the end of each turn you have to repopulate with more zombies. So a smaller number here is going to make the game obviously more difficult. You could even do a 1d10 roll, but I'm going to go with 1d8 for now. I can't really remember what I settled on in my mind I like the most, but I'm going to go with 1d8. So we're going to roll for the number of actions. Even though we don't take an action right away, I just like to know how many actions I have coming. It helps me plan a little bit. So we roll for the number of actions, and then we spawn the zombie tokens. And what this means is, let me just show you a card here. We will be, if these are cards I'm not using in the game, what we will be doing is placing 1 token up to the number of valid exits on the card for each turn that we're there, just on the card. And the token is simply going to be, you have many more counters than you need, just an upside down bullet, or I could use the health thing, but have more bullets. And that just stays there. It will become a zombie in the next turn. Then we will draw an event card, and I already showed you, I think, that I divided up the cards that come with the game into events and into items, and this is the event deck. Some of these events you will resolve immediately, but in the way that I am playing, you can, if it is something not to your advantage or possible to do at that time, you can hold it in your inventory. That will just count as one of the 3 cards you can keep in your hand. So for example, if you got, say on the first turn, if you got something that allowed you to shoot or destroy 5 zombies, and there's not 5 zombies, you don't have to forfeit that. You can just hang on to it. Then you can conduct your actions. What are your actions? Well, again, you're going to have the number of actions that you roll on your D8, so you could only have one action. You could also have 8. You can do them in any order. You can change a weapon or re-equip something, and this would also include if you have, say, more than one piece of armor and you want to change it out, you could do that. You can move. You can enter a building, and to do that, you would be rolling on the encounter table and then doing a search. You can conduct combat, you can retreat from combat, and you can explore. And explore is just to turn over a new panel. You do need to be at the edge of your tile to do that, so you can't explore from the middle of a panel. And that's it. And you just sort of rinse and repeat and try to make your way through. The hospital that you're looking for is going to be in one of these last 5 cards, and you will be then picking up your savior there, who is camped out there. And I didn't mention this earlier, but when you get to him, you will create him. So you will roll him up as an NPC to go with you. He'll get health and he'll get body, brains, and aim to go with you. You can give him some of your equipment if you have it to give at that point, and then he will become working with you to get back to the helicopter and retreat. All right, let's get into it. We have landed in this town, and the very first thing we're going to do is roll to see how many actions we can take this turn. So we're rolling a d8, and we rolled a 7, so we will have up to 7 actions this turn. However, the first thing we need to do is to spawn a zombie token, and we will be taking one of these tokens. When you spawn the zombie token, you will be placing it anywhere that is the farthest away from you, and the next turn it will turn into a zombie. The third thing that we do now is to draw and resolve this event card. So let's see what we get. I should say we got bad sense of direction. That doesn't sound great. The cards that are provided with the game, obviously, don't necessarily match up with what we're doing here because we're using some house rules. The solo variant, I'm going to need to look this up. I should have pulled this out beforehand. The way that I determine what the event card means is I first go to the solo rules that have already been written, because why invent the wheel? And many of those still work with the way that I'm playing if the author of that rule set has everything laid out in terms of what it actually means for that play. If it works, I do it that way. If it doesn't, I make an approximation. So let me see what he's got for this card, Bad Sense of Direction. Nothing that starts with bad is going to be good, obviously. So let's see. Bad sense of direction. Player can move but is unable to exit the tile this turn. Ugh. All right, well, that's going to work, unfortunately. This works with my rule set, so I'm going to go with that. So I'm stuck here with the helicopter, and what this means is certainly there's going to be this zombie I have to encounter in the next turn. I can't go anywhere, and if I can't go anywhere, I can't actually do any of my actions, because at this point I've got no weapon to change out. I've just got the shotgun. I have no items or anything, armor that I want to put on or whatever. There's nothing to search here, so I'm done. It's not a great beginning to the game, but that's such as it is. So we're going to move on then to the second turn, and I'll show you what happens at the beginning of the second turn. Is this token turns into a zombie. So a zombie is going to appear there, and we will place this zombie there. And we will be rolling to see how many actions we get this turn. Hopefully we can use them. We rolled a 5. And this event card now is going to be discarded because this event has happened. If you run through the events, you can just reshuffle the deck, but you may not do that. So the next thing that, I guess I did it out of order. We spawned the zombie from the token, and now we need to draw another event card. Oh, this isn't so bad. Move any 2 zombies in play to any legal space. Let's see what, if anything, the author says about that. All zombies within 2 squares of a player move back 2 squares. Okay. Well, can't really do it. If they can't move back, they can't move back. So unfortunately, this would be a good event for us if it wasn't the beginning of the game. But it is, so that has no effect. However, we have our 5 actions that we can take at this point. So I might as well right away get into some combat. Why not? And what I'm going to do then with my first action is I'm going to well, I have a shotgun here, so it doesn't really, well, sorry, I'm going to move into this tile here because I can use with my shotgun in the same tile. So I'm going to do that, and that will be 1 action, so I'll bring myself down to 4 remaining actions. Then I'm going to choose to conduct combat. This is going to be, the first round of combat is going to be, conducting combat is going to be an action. So I'm down to 3 remaining. Now, conducting combat using my shotgun, what this means is I'm going to, the total damage I can do is 2d10, so that's pretty good. And because I am in the same or adjacent square, I get a modifier of +2 to my roll. So what I'm going to be doing to do combat is I'm going to be rolling a d10. I'm going to add my current aim stat, which is 5, and I'm looking for a 9 or greater to have a successful hit, a total roll of 9 or greater. Well, I rolled right away successfully. So I rolled definitely successfully, and I've got my shotgun, so I'm doing 1d10 worth of damage. And, or did I say 2d10? Let me look at that actually again. It is 2d10s worth of damage. So, got to get my dice set up a little bit better here. The zombie health, I think I failed to mention that. The zombie health, it comes in at 15, so you have to keep track of that. So, well, that's unfortunate. I rolled only a 3 of damage, and I realized I got to get some paper to keep track of this. It's a pretty inauspicious beginning for us because since we moved into the same square, excuse me, with this zombie, he's going to be fighting back. And the zombies can only conduct melee combat. If you're in the same square with them, they're going to conduct melee with you. So I didn't do too much with my shotgun, only doing the damage of 3. So we'll take these 3 away. And now the zombie is going to shoot back or attack us. And the way this works is for the melee combat, he's going to be rolling same deal. He's going to be rolling a 1d10, adding his body score to it, and if he gets more than a 9 on that, he's going to do 1d6 plus 1 of damage. So let's see what happens here. We got a 4 plus 4 is 8. We escaped, luckily. And now we can decide to retreat or we can decide to continue on. I'm going to continue on here. I didn't, unfortunately, my roll was just so bad before that the success that I had didn't do much with my potential for 2d10 worth of damage, only getting 3. But let's just move on, and we're going to go one more round for sure right here. So as a reminder, what we're doing is we're taking a 1d10. We are adding our aim value, which is a 5, to that, and we're looking for a 9 or greater. And here we have clear success. This is a 10 that I rolled. Benefit. In any case, now let's see if I can get something better than a 3 for damage here on these 2d10s. 3 and a 2. This is really, I hope the game is not going this way. Well, we did 5 more points of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's going to come back at us now. And he rolls an 8. Yeah, this is, this isn't good. So he has grabbed us with his teeth, and he gets to do 1d6 plus 1 worth of damage. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm going to be rolling a 6 right now, but we'll see. We'll see. 4. So he's doing 5 damage to me, so I've lost 5. And of course, I can't give up now. I got to keep going here. So we will continue along, and we will be rolling our d10. Remember, we have the benefit of 2. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus our aim score. So clearly we get a hit, and now we'll see what type of damage we could possibly muster here on the 2d10s. Can I get something decent? Well, this is a little bit better. Let's see. So we got 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. All right. The zombie is dead, but we have lost 5 of our health. Now, we still have 3 actions we can conduct at this point. We'll take this guy out and we will do an exploration, of course, to get out of here. And what do we find? We find a blank tile. So this is how this works. We will place the tile in a legal place. That was one action. So we are down to 2 remaining actions, one of which will be to move into this tile, because explore and move are separate actions. So we have 1 action remaining. And we can't quite get to the theater entrance. This would be considered an unnamed building that we could go in and do our search to see if there was anything in there. So I think we'll just move forward simply because we will be going in there. We want to see if there's something we can find, and that will conclude this part of the turn, or I should say this turn. Before we get started with this turn, I just want to clarify something from the prior turn. Because I continued to do combat with the zombie using my shotgun as opposed to ditching it and going to melee on my side as well, I used up, in the 3 rounds of combat, I used up 3 of my bullets. So I'm down to 3. So that's something very important to note. Had I decided to spend an action in the middle of combat, I could have gone to my own melee combat, but then, of course, the potential damage that I could have done would not have been as high. All right, so be that as it may, the first thing we're going to do for this turn is we're going to roll to see how many actions we will get, and we're rolling our d8, and we get 3 actions. Well, that's what it is, 3 actions. So here we are, and we definitely we need some stuff, even at the risk of encountering some zombies, so we definitely want to move into this building here. This is a minor building, so to move into a building costs 2 actions. It's a move as well as a going into the building. So that's two of our 3 actions, and we are down to 1 remaining action, which will be ideally to do a search. Now, the first thing we have to do is to roll on the, I don't think it has a name, but I think of it as the minor building random encounter table. Basically, it's almost like a wandering monster table in sort of a traditional dungeon crawl. And I'll show it to you. Actually, let me pull back here to show you what it is. Here it is. We're going to be rolling a d10, and you can see we could potentially be encountering some rats, finding some bullets. Well, we certainly need that. There could be a zombie, some food, a dog, some shells. We need that too. We don't differentiate really. We're just talking ammo here. Nothing, some medical kits, or 3 zombies. Well, that would stink. And the stats for the rats and the dog, and I guess it's just the rats and the dog, these are provided in the rules, and if we encounter them, I will show you that. If we did encounter that, we have 1 action left. That would just be a sort of mandatory combat that we had to do. It wouldn't count as an action that we took. So let me do the d10 roll and see what we get here. We got a 1. 1 or 6 rats. Oof. 6 rats. So let's see what that means actually. All right. 6 rats. Well, let's see. Was there an option? Just curious if you could have encountered like 1 rat, because did we really roll like the worst possibility of rats? I mean, at this point, I'm just obsessing over how poorly everything is going here. Well, we could have encountered 2 rats. In any case, the rat stats, as it were, are here right in the rules. Each rat has a health of 2 only, and a body score of 1, brains of 1, and they are doing a 1d4 worth of damage. Well, we're certainly not going to try to shoot them with our shotgun at this point, because we're only down to 3 ammo, and it's very beginning of the game. And also, I want to show you what happens with the melee combat. So what happens with the melee combat is we roll a 1d10 and we add our body score, and the zombie, or in this case the rats, are going to be rolling their d10 and adding their body score, and then whoever is higher is going to win. So if I can get together the right dice, we can just do each round on 1 roll. And yes, I am rolling. The rats are attacking as a group, so they're just getting one roll. Let me get some dice together. All right, here we go. This is me. These are the rats. I don't know. This is whoops, me, rats. What we're doing is we're going to roll these and add our body scores. My body score, as a reminder, is a 3. The rats have a body score of a 1. They rolled a 2, and they for a total of 3. And if I roll an 8 for a win. So I'm going to inflict damage on them in this first round of combat. And I'm going to inflict, the damage you inflict on unarmed combat is based on your body score. So my body score is 3, which means for 3 or lower, I do a 1d4. If my body score was 4, I would have done a 1d4 plus 1. So you remember I changed that. But so my damage that I inflict is going to be a 1d4. So here's my d4, and we will remind ourselves that we're dealing with 6 rats with a total of 2 health each, so that's got 12 health there. These are going to be my rat health. We will hope for the best here. I'm never good at rolling d4s. What did I get? 2. All right. So round 1 done, and we'll just keep it up. We'll keep going here. I rolled a 4 plus my 3 is a 7. They rolled a 1 plus their 1 is a 2. So we're doing something. 2 more points of damage. Done. And I'll keep going. All right, here we are. Hopefully this is the last round. I got 4 points of damage on me already with the rats, but I kept going because I really want to investigate this building. And they're down to 1 health point. I did a 4 in the last one, but all right, let's just give it another roll and see what happens. All right, so I'm going to dispense with them now because they had 1 health point left. I don't even need to make the roll. And I had 4 points of damage done by them, but the building is now clear of the rats, so I can move on after that table to get to what I really want to do, which is search on this equipment table. Now, again, it's not a guarantee because if I roll high, I'm not going to get anything. But we're rolling 2 d8s on this table to see what we can possibly get. And we roll a 10. We got a grapple hook. Well, strong enough to hold the weight of 2 people at a time, plus 2 to climb. What does this mean? Well, what this means is that we can climb up to the top of a building. We could do it right now if we wanted, using our, I believe it's the body value, but we're going to add 2 to it. And if we're successful in doing that, we can stand up there with our shotgun and then get a plus 2 bonus to shooting out from the top of the building down. So that's what that is for. So we'll add that to our inventory and move on. And well, of course, as soon as I stopped filming, something new happened, and that's often the case. So we went into this abandoned cinema. I think it's an abandoned cinema, and we got some good stuff. We found some bullets, and we found a couple of medical kit, or a medical kit. No. It was food. Sorry. It was food that allowed me to roll a 1d6 to restore some health. I think I only rolled a 2, but whatever. And now, you recall, we have this grappling hook. So here we are. We're in this building, and the zombies, we've got a clear line of sight down this road here to where the zombies are coming toward us. And I think what we're going to do, just to do it and to show you how it works and then move on, is to use this grappling hook to scale the building so that I can show you how we do some other type of action beyond just a melee or a ranged combat. To do something like that, it is going to be using the relevant stat that you have, and in this case that's the body stat, so that's my 3 stat. But because I have this grappling hook, I'm going to get a plus 2 to that, so that's really going to be a 5. Again, I'm looking to roll a 9 or better for a success, and we will give this a roll and see. Actually, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here because I've planned to do this. I need to go through the steps properly. The first thing being I have to see how many actions I get this turn. So let me do that and see. Oh, we got 8 actions this turn. And we are going to spawn our zombie token, which will come down here, I guess, coming in at the end next turn. And let's draw an event card and see what we get here. Our shoes untied. That's not so good. What this means is it says divide target player's movement roll in half, rounded down. What I take that to mean is that any movement that you do this turn while you have this event in place is doubled. So movement is going to cost 2. So luckily we actually have 8 actions, so that's pretty good. We want to get to the top of this building, and now we can conduct our action. So the first thing we're going to do is climb. And to climb, we're going to use the grappling hook for a +2. We're going to use our body for a 3, and we're going to be rolling this D10 to see whether we can get a 9 or better. And we got a 9 or better, indeed. So it's a good thing that we had that that +2, because otherwise we would have been at an 8. It just took us to the 9. So to do this action, we did the action to climb, which is a movement action. So that's going to count as 2 based on this. So we're down to 6 actions remaining for the turn. And to signal that we have climbed to the top of the building, I will do this. So now we are scoping out the situation here, and we're seeing clearly down the road they are coming for us. And what we want to do now is conduct some ranged combat and show you that we go to there's a table that tells us for however many distance away there's a modifier. So we get a +2 if they're in the same or adjacent. Well, they're not, but they are 2 away, and that would be normally a 0 modifier. But because we are up here, we're going to get a +2 modifier. So we're going to have 2 plus our aim value of 5, so we're already at a 7. And we rolled a 4. You can't see that off here, so that's going to be a hit on this zombie. And now let us hope that with the shotgun we can roll more than a 2d10. Remember, we're looking at a 15 life on each of these zombies, so let's see what type of damage we can possibly do to that first fellow. And we got rid of this guy. Finally, doing some good rolling here. Can you see that? Yes, there you go. We dispensed with him immediately, so that was quite effective. And I think we're going to just keep going here and attempting, because we can go as far as 9 squares away, which would be bringing us to a -2 on the chart. But because we are up, we'll be at a neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're only 5 away, so we're going to be able to shoot at them pretty effectively at this point with a +2 modifier all the way down this road. And I'm going to continue to do that. I did pick up a couple more bullets, so that was 1 bullet down, but I've got 2, 4, 6. I got 7 bullets left. So that's going to be my next plan. Well, a bit more has happened, and I'm going to just come in now and conclude this video with this last segment because it's getting pretty long. We wandered around a bit, and we ultimately drew this card here with, I needed to get to a building, and so I didn't even go that way. And then we drew this tile finally for a named building, a major building, which is the hardware store. So I'm going to show you how that works, and I guess then pack it in. So here we are, and well, hopefully we had a few turns where we just rolled a 1 for our action, so that was kind of stinky. Hopefully I won't do that again. This is the hardware building, and we have we mowed down some zombies with our shotgun. We got a couple chasing us, and let's see how many actions we will get this turn. We will get 4, and hopefully that's enough to, well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, yep, it's going to be enough to get into the building and to do an explore in the building, just enough, actually. So let's first draw our event card. I'll say the last event card was great because it pushed back the zombies a little bit from us, which was good, although the one before that, I got this claustrophobia, which prohibited me from going into a building. So I'm down to 3 bullets, and I picked up, I've got a backpack, a torch, and still have that grappling hook. I did another search and picked up another grappling hook, well, found another grappling hook, which I didn't pick up, so that was too bad. So
we've got 4 actions this turn, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to place the zombie token here. It's going to be coming for us, and then we will draw our event card and see what we pull. Alternate food source. I think that's something good. I can't remember what that is. Let's see. Zombies ignore player this turn. Okay, players can move through zombies without needing to melee. Well, that's actually not going to impact us too much, because I don't think we would, the way it is, we're not going to even encounter anybody. But nevertheless, all right. So now we're to our actions, and we're going to take 1, 2, 3 actions to go into this store. Now, this is a named building, and per the rules, well, you can see just, I can't really move this up. Can I? Yes. You can see that the building is going to be populated. It's upside down here, but it's going to have 3 zombies, 1 life, and 2 bullets. So let's get this down. Now, per the rules, and I'm following the basic rules here, the life, the bullets, and the zombies are not meant to be on the same tile. Actually, now that I think about it, this alternate food source is going to come in handy. We won't need to combat those zombies when we're in here. That's the entry point, and we've got 4 actions. 1, 2. You know, it's going to cost us 4 to get in there. We're not going to be able to. We're not going to be able to do our search because we're going to be out of actions. 1, 2, and 2 to get in. Well, such as it is, but nevertheless, let's place the zombies down here. And I think it said 3 zombies. And then I need to show you another turn, because I do want to show you how the searching works. And then we've got the 2 life, and, or rather, the 1 life and the 2 bullets. We're in need of both. We're sort of more in need of the bullets. And so we'll place them close up. We can pick those up. Okay. That's the store. We're going to go in there, and this turn, because of that card, we won't have to deal with any of the zombies. And the way I interpret that for this game means I can at least forage and pick up what is here. What I can't do, though, because I'm out of actions, is to roll on the tables that, or the table that is here for this. Did I fail to mention it's the hardware store? So what we're going to do, per the sort of mishmash of rules that we're playing with, is when we can, we're going to be rolling on this table to pick up something. Now, I will say, when I showed you these tables earlier on, I hadn't finished filling in the fact that I add item cards to certain of the entries for almost every store, not every store, because that is how you will be able to pull, if you choose, from the item deck. So, yeah, I guess that's it. We're going to grab these bullets, and because of the event card, we don't have to deal with, really don't have to deal with anything else, but we're out of actions. So, we will move on to the next turn and roll for, we only have 2 actions that turn. We will still be spawning, we'll be spawning a zombie and placing a token, so this is going to turn into a zombie. And, whoops, remember we're in the store here, and now we are going to have to deal with these zombies if they come. These are moving forward, and these are going to be coming for us, so at least, very least, we're going to have to deal with this guy. So that's that, and I'm going to deal with that and come back and show you how or what I find. All right, well, I blew a couple of them away with my shotgun, and I grappled with one. I lost some health. I lost a bunch of bullets. I think I'm down to, let's see, 2. I got 2 bullets left, but I'm here. I need to look through this store. That's the purpose of my being here. But of course, the consequence of spending that time is now they're congregating. They're coming for me, and now we start to see a few panels in how this game generally feels, where you're overrun, and we've got one, of course, that's going to be spawning here. Now, remember, I'm in this store, so I may choose to climb up to the top, maybe next turn, and try to blow some of them away that way. But I only have 2 bullets, so I don't know. Unless I find, maybe I'll find some ammo here, but it doesn't look that way actually. Now that I look on the table, so here's what happens.
we are rolling on the hardware store table, and we're going to get something, and we will see what we get. We got a 4, which is going to be either fuel or an item. Now, I don't have any weapons that need fuel right now, so I'm definitely going to take an item card and see what I get, and that is chosen from the top of the item deck, which is over here, and which was previously separated at the very outset of the game. So let's see what we got. We got a chainsaw. Nice. Every zombie game, you need to have a chainsaw. Chainsaw, let's see. +3 to melee combat dice roll. Place 3 bullets on card. Has enough gas for 3 turns. Remove a bullet token. All right, so this is where this is great, but this is where you can see how getting fuel is also important, because basically we can only use this 3 times. We'll carry it around if we run out of gas with it, but we will place our 3 fuel on it, and it's good. The problem with melee combat is that it well, it gets a little tedious to be rolling back and forth, and also you end up getting damaged slowly, and that can be an irritation. And the way that I chose to have my body strength, I can only do a little bit of damage. We're both basically doing the 1d4 of damage to each other in that scenario. So there it is. Our decisions next turn are going to be well, actually it's still this turn because we had 3 actions. I think I rolled for that. I've lost a little bit of track, but the foraging was 1 action. I could climb to the roof and take my chances and hopefully blow away these guys here. That's probably a good option because I have just picked up this chainsaw, which is going to give me that great benefit in melee, and maybe I continue to walk through and draw another card without a named building, because let's see, I've already drawn 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb to the roof of the building, and I will take my best shots here and then continue to move on and hope that the next tile that I draw maybe has another named building where I can get some more stuff. So I think I've probably shown you enough of this. I'm just going to continue to play this off camera, but really have enjoyed over the years the fan-made material, and in particular the efforts to include RPG-ish element, which tends to affect the combat a little bit, although it's still very basic combat. And I think you could incorporate more of that even than I have done by populating the buildings. You could have if you wanted an entire aspect of your turn to search for items in a different way that might allow you to get more items and therefore vary the combat a bit, I think that would probably be interesting. People might say, like, well, that might make the game too easy because most of the items are going to be, here's this chainsaw, most of the items are going to be so beneficial to you. But my response to that would be it might just make the game more varied and therefore more interesting, because as you know, I'm not interested really so much in winning a game, quote unquote, as in just the experience of it. And what happens here, because of the added elements of, say, climbing the building. I mean, they're limited, but they do add life to this game, and I think for playing it solo, make it a little bit more dynamic than it tends to get a teeny bit repetitive, especially if you're playing it solo. So there's a look inside zombies, and plus some fan-made benefits.